Oh baby, yes! In the paddock, F1, Greeny and the cheese. Well, we got no highlights because F1's a little slack in there to open the show as we usually do. So you get no David Croft this week. But we are in the United Arab Emirates in the capital city of Abu Dhabi, a city of 1.5 million people. And while you're in Abu Dhabi, how about you take a trip to the Warner Brothers world of Abu Dhabi? Go check out Bugs. Or how about a trip to the Louvre, Abu Dhabi, and check out a little artwork? Or my personal favorite and probably my first stop when I get to Abu Dhabi, you gotta go to Ferrari World. Come on now. Gotta take a trip. But this is not a travel show. This is an F1 show. And we are at the Yas Marina circuit, reprofiled for this year. 16 corners, 5 less than it was last year. Lap times, 15 seconds faster. 2 DRS zones. You give it the full beans, 75% of your lap. And for the second time in the history of Formula One, 2 drivers are tied going into the final race. And strategy, what was afoot there, boys and girls? Max locked it up on his second go in Q2 on the mediums, flat spotted him, had to go to the reds. So he started on the reds tomorrow. Lewis will start on the mediums, but Max takes pole with a little toe from his friend Perez. Lewis second, Norris third. How about that? A little shakeup of the grid.
Out of nowhere.
We're caffeinated. We're medicated. And for the first time this season, good morning there, Michael.
Good morning, cheese. It is a pre-noon show today. Actually, the second time this season, we actually did Le Mans Wake and Bake special, episode 23. So it is the second time, but the first time during a race weekend, that is for sure. First time during a race weekend, so you're 100% correct. As we get on nice and early today, Eastern Standard Time here on the East Coast of the U.S., broadcasting to the world. And thank you all for listening. Thank you all for reaching out. It has been, again, a amazing season and very, very sad to see the end last weekend here. But check your pulse, check your schedule, because it's go time, man. It really, really is, because what we saw today with Max looked really good out there. Lewis absolutely wanted pole, and couldn't get it. And the fact Bottas finished 6th, starting on the 3rd row. So that's not really going to help out. That's not really going to help out Hamilton's cause. So it is a definite rough start, but we've seen Lewis in rougher starts than this and him pull through. Is he the GOAT? Is he the Michael Jordan? Is he one of the greats of all time? He absolutely has it all set up to be behind once again. And Lewis Hamilton, I believe, will be the story of tomorrow. He has an opportunity to win his 8th. That is the story right now. That is absolutely the story. Yes, Max has an opportunity to win his first. On pole, looked better, looked quicker. But Lewis has done it before. Let's talk about tires. We saw what happened with Max's flat spot there. They had to switch to the softs. And so he's going to be starting on the softs while Lewis is starting on the mediums. And away we go, sir. Cheese, how are you feeling about tomorrow's race?
Oh, there's a lot to be going on here. We got, as you said, Lewis on the mediums, Max on the softs. Is it going to be a 1-stop or a 2-stop? That's a question in the air, because we are going, 3 laps longer than we did last year since the track is reprofiled and there's less corners and less distance. So we're going 3 more laps. The pole sitter has won 6 races in a row at Abu Dhabi. So think of that for tomorrow. The top, as they start 1, 2, 3, that's how they finished 4 of the last 6 times at Abu Dhabi. So put that in your thinking cap for tomorrow.
That's some thinking cap stuff.
So there's a lot there. So if you're just talking about those couple things right there, Lewis has a lot to overcome here with just those little couple tidbits of information. We'll see how the tires plan out. 1-stop or 2-stop, as I said. That's going to be very interesting to see how that's going to do. I mean, it has worked earlier. Everybody was thinking it's going to be a one-stop going into this week, but as you remember back in Spain, Mercedes threw the two-stop in there and ended up winning the race when everybody said it was going to be a one-stop. So, little strategy options. We're going to see what happens at the start. I mean, Max is definitely going to probably get more grip since he's going to be on the softer tire. It's got that 8 meters in front of Lewis. Is Lewis going to go gung-ho iguana and throw it in there in the first corner? Try and get the better start and try and throw it in there. So a lot of things can go down. But Max looked extremely good today. They kept trimming and trimming and trimming the wings on the Red Bull all weekend. You could see it. You could see as they kept up a little time here, a little time there, and they're pretty much at their limit that they can pretty much go, I think, is how they're, because they knew Mercedes has that little bit of an advantage, and now they're actually, I think it was 2 to 3 miles an hour quicker actually on the clock than the Mercedes was the Red Bull today.
3 hours. Yeah, 3 hours, I believe, in Sector 1. They were 3 hours.
3 miles per hour.
3 miles per hour. 3 miles per hour. Not 3 hours. That was Nikita Mazepin, who was probably that far behind. But yes, again, unbelievable day. We saw a lot of little nonsense going on. As Carlos Sainz said, I believe that it was in P2 where they had a lot of cars all bunched up there. It was almost like a race going on. Michael Massey coming in again. Fire Michael Massey is once again trending on Twitter as we speak, just like it was 5 days ago. What is going on here? What is going on? Why is there a pileup of cars with 3 minutes to go, or 2.5 minutes to go? And I mean, Max got caught into it.
Everybody was caught in it at some point. I mean, it's a crap show. Something's got to be done. You got to have these guys stop slowing around on their warm-up laps. I mean, it's totally ridiculous to have these guys like trying to jockey for position through corners and such. It's absolutely insane. As we have discussed in the past, Michael Massey needs to grow some stones. Bottom line. It's got to grow stones or, out the door. Because it's utterly ridiculous. It's utterly ridiculous.
Yeah, there's
no
really...
No wonder why it's trending on Twitter. To fire Massey.
There's really no room for indecision when it comes to these situations. And it's safety first, safety second, and safety third. The history of Formula One, if anyone's followed the last 70 years of Formula One, is full of tragedy. And the history of motorsports itself is full of tragedy. And we want to avoid tragedy really at all costs. We know how these guys race, and they know the history. So when they get pissed off, as Fernando Alonso is losing his stuff right about now, he's been very vocal after qualifying at the moment even. So after qualifying, he was definitely very agitated, as he should be, because it's really, really unacceptable to put any of these drivers in position. Fernando has El Plan this weekend, so he wants El Plan to go off without a hitch. Anything else of the big picture before we get into Q1? Cheese.
Let's see what Norris does tomorrow. He seemed a little didn't know what he was going to do tomorrow. Was he just going to sit back and let the guys go at it, the front two? Or is he going to try and throw his nose in there? So he seemed a little confused on what he was going to do. Perez will probably be charging to try and, if possible, get in front of Lewis too and give Max more room. Lewis is no help with Valtteri back at 6th, which was just absolutely atrocious. That was absolutely atrocious. Absolutely atrocious.
Really?
When your teammate really needed you and you throw just rubbish lap. Just rubbish, to be honest. Just rubbish. I'm sure Toto is spitting fire and fumes on that one.
It makes it massively, massively interesting that Sergio Perez is going to be starting behind Lewis Hamilton. I don't think anything is going to intentionally happen, but it just very interesting what Checo's going to do. He is one of the more honorable guys that you'll ever meet, but he just interesting. Maybe Lewis might break Checo this week, so we'll see. So without further ado, sir, let's talk about Q1.
Not really too much for me. Kimi doesn't get out of Q1. It's final qualifying. Little bit of a shame there. Disappointing. And Seb squeaks through. But that was pretty much it for me. The rest of the guys in the back were pretty much where they pretty much belong. So
yeah, both AlphaTauris and both Aston Martins make it through to Q2. George Russell, average start position, I believe they mentioned it during the race, average start position, I think 12.8 was his average start position this year. So that is definitely, 17th is definitely way behind his average. It looks more like a little 2019 Russell down the stretch here than we saw maybe for at least the first half of the season. And yeah, Gio out-qualifying Kimi for Kimi's last race in F1. So
Gio's last race too.
Well, Gio's last race too, but not Gio's last race. He's not hanging it up like
well, no, but
like Kimi is.
Last race in F1 though.
Last race in F1. So that's going to be a new team next year with Valtteri Bottas moving into that seat and Zhu from F2 moving up into the other seat, who finished, I believe, third in the F2 this morning. So yeah, that is Q1. Q2 gets a little more interesting. News, notes, remarks, Q2.
Gasly out of Q3. That was a shocker. That was a shocker because he was quick all weekend. Ricardo squeaks his way into Q3. And Yuki throws it into Q3 again. Now, do I expect much from him tomorrow? Absolutely 100% not. Because every time he's thrown it up in there in Q3, he finishes way the heck down the order. So, but another little surprise, especially him out qualifying his teammate.
Yeah, anytime Yuki can out-qualify his teammate, and really anytime a rookie can out-qualify a veteran on the same team is always impressive. But yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I got for Q2.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we mentioned earlier that soft spot on that tire that got burned out by Max, forcing him to go to the softs to start the race. That was definitely interesting there. That completely kind of changed the strategy for tomorrow. And Mercedes is going to start on the medium, so that's kind of set it up in Q2 there. And as we mentioned earlier, the traffic jams and the inability of Michael Massey to make any kind of decision to disperse.
Well, there's no shock there.
But that's those are my takeaways.
He needs some bigger yam bags, as you say.
As I said, and will continue to say, look it up in the Urban Dictionary. It's in there. I was questioned. I was questioned that yam bags. I just made that up, but I did not make that up. That is true slang.
Look it up.
Look it up. Open your dictionary. Google that S and look it up. That brings us, my friend, before you spit out your tea, to Q3, where if you're not up on your feet on that last lap, I was up on my feet. I don't know about you.
You're always standing on your couch. You're like a 7-year-old.
Yeah, I am.
You were up at 3:00 this morning, like a kid on Christmas. What are you talking about?
I did. I was up at 3:30 this morning. The race, or the quali started at 8 a.m. here on the East Coast of the U.S. where we're at. So I was planning on getting up at 7:30, having some coffee and my bagel, and watching the race. But I woke up and I looked at the clock, just assuming it was still dark, so I figured it was like 6:15. And it was like 3:40. I was like, oh my gosh. So I tried to go back to sleep. I was just wide awake. My Twitter was blowing up. How do you not get pumped? How do you not get pumped for the last weekend of the year? I can hibernate for the next 3 months, but until then, this Saturday morning, it was go time, baby. And so I was up and ready to go and ready to jump on my couch. As my kids walk in and are like, what are you doing? But what's wrong with you?
That sounds
I'm an 8-year-old. I'm an 8-year-old. But I digress. Q3.
Q3. Well, as we discussed, Bottas sick, just putrid. Lando out of nowhere with his third.
Magic.
Where that came from, I'm not sure. Ferraris did well again. Sainz and Leclerc, 5th and 7th. So another good showing. Looks like they're, pretty much sews up that third place for them. I think the only way that they could lose it actually is they cannot have either car finish in the points, and I think McLaren has to finish 1-2. So that's not happening.
Yeah, Lando ran like a perfect lap. He ran a perfect lap on that last lap there. That's how he was in there. I can't imagine. I think we're all rooting for Lando Norris. Maybe you're not rooting for him as much, and there's no way they're going to finish 1-2 and Ferrari's going to be out of the points. But,
no,
you don't know until they race. Who the heck knows what's going to happen? Who knows what's going to happen with all this craziness going on?
Technically, Lewis and Max can finish tied tomorrow in points.
Well, in points and everything, can't they?
Well, in points, no. Lewis cannot win and have 9 wins and Max be tied. They can be tied with Lewis finishing 9th, Max finishes 10th, and gets the fastest lap. And they can finish tied.
Lewis finishes 9th and gets the Lewis finishes 9th, Max finishes 10th with the fastest lap. Yeah, or they just both crash out in turn 1 and both get zeros. That could also happen. That seems like a possibility on the board for tomorrow. So
that's a possibility.
So yeah.
So then it would fall to.
You hope not.
So then it would fall to
Max for wins.
To Max for wins. Well, you don't want anything to happen like 94.
No, you don't want to see those situations.
As much as Michael Schumacher has talked about as one of the greatest drivers, that was a big stain on his career.
Yeah, or many Senna Pro situations, but
they never took each other out on the final day or so, a day to keep the title. So
no,
I mean
no, and that's why people get offended. Yeah, that's the separation. I apologize, but because I know Schumacher's your man from his Ferrari years, but I think that's the difference when you talk about Lewis and Schumacher. Why a lot of people pick Lewis. That's definitely on his resume. That's not the sole reason, but a lot of people pick Lewis over Schumacher as the greatest of all time. Sometimes it's just splitting hairs, but that's definitely a teetering difference that could take someone over. But yeah, any more points or thoughts before we head into a quick break and come back with our gambling notes? Our final time this year, we're going to go at it for our wins, our trifecta, and our biggest gainer. And of course, it's the Quizmaster Cockpit. We're going for a lap. I'm a little worried once again because I know how these laps go. Final thoughts.
It's going to be very interesting with the strategy playing out for tomorrow. We'll see what happens at the front. All the marbles. One last shot. Let's go. Let's go.
And of course, find us on Twitter, In the Paddock USA. Email us inthepaddockusa@gmail.com. Greeny and the Cheese, In the Paddock F1. Back after this. Saturday. Qualifying. And it's never our right to fight. But we might see one. We might see some fists. We might see some craziness, some fisticuffs, some crashes. I sure know the British media is waiting on it and is salivating. I've never seen a conspiracy theory such as this, that Max has definitely got to crash out. Greeny and the Cheese in the paddock F1. It is qualifying in Abu Dhabi. For all the marbles, my friend. Well, at least the grid marbles, that is. So it really, really has been an exciting morning. An evening in Abu Dhabi, a morning here. Cheese, I hear you have some questions for me.
Oh, yes,
as usual, because it's Saturday. And even though it's not Saturday night, as we usually bring it to you, it is Saturday morning. But I'm sure the questions will be just as difficult. So whenever you're ready to lay that on me.
Oh, I got some good ones for you here in the Quizmasters Cockpit this week. Because you pissed and moaned the last 2 weeks because you didn't get any racing questions. We have all racing questions for you this week, sir.
Oh, now I'm in big trouble.
Question 1.
Oh, hold on. All right. Maybe you should ask the question before I get buzzed.
Well, you're probably going to need it anyway, so it's good to give it a test. It's good to give it a test.
blow the dust off that button. Go ahead. Whenever you're ready, sir.
In 2009 was the inaugural Grand Prix in Abu Dhabi. Who won the race and what constructor were they driving for?
Oh, this is 2-part questions are absolutely ridiculous. These 2-part questions are absolutely ridiculous.
You're crying. You cry about this. You cry about that. Just answer the damn questions. 2009. Winner and the constructor they drove for the inaugural race at Abu Dhabi. 2009.
2009. So who won? Vettel? No, Vettel didn't win 2009. Jenson Button won in 2009. So I'm going to go with the easy one with Jenson Button.
Constructor.
Was he driving a Williams? No, he didn't drive a Williams that year. No.
Well, Jenson Button drove a McLaren.
That's right.
But both those are incorrect. Both are incorrect. Give me a double buzz, because that was bad. Again, sir, double.
There was a double buzz. What do you want me? I gotta give you one. I give you two. I'm not giving any more buzzers.
The answer was Sebastian Vettel in a Red Bull. So that's a red sector. But that's pretty much common for you. So moving on. Next question. Who has the most race wins at the Yas Marina circuit? What driver?
Lewis would be the obvious answer here. I'm going to go with Lewis.
That is correct. So we will give you, because your kid stole the bell.
I almost buzzed. Go ahead.
Because your kid stole the bell and left it at school, so you're going to get a Rocky ding ding.
Wow, I didn't think I would get any of those. Lewis Hamilton.
Lewis Hamilton 5 times. 2011, 14, 16, 18, and 19. So that is a green sector. So 1 for 1. Or 1 for 2. Because of the 2-parter, but
50% is an F.
But I digress.
Go ahead.
Final question. In 2012, Lotus Renault was the constructor to win the Grand Prix at Abu Dhabi. Who was the driver?
2012 Lotus. Freaking remember who drove the 2012 Lotus. The hell drove the 2012 Lotus? I don't remember what I ate for breakfast.
5 seconds. Buzz it.
Was it
All
Kimmy?
right. That is correct.
Oh my! I pulled that out of the fire.
Well, we had to get a question in there with Kimmy and his
I was stupid.
final Grand Prix weekend.
It was stupid. No,
We had to get Kimmy. We had to get Kimmy in there in his final Grand Prix weekend. But you got it correct, sir. So a Rocky ding.
Wow. I pulled that out of the fire after forgetting about 2009 and Jensen Button, the McLaren. That was bad.
In a Williams, he says first.
Brain fog. I just had the booster.
For shit.
I just had the booster shot, so
cry
the brain is a
about
little
it.
foggy.
I know why.
It was a bad job. It was a bad job.
I know.
It was a bad job.
I know why. I know the real reason why your brain's foggy, but I digress.
Well, there's many reasons why my brain is foggy. There is no real reason. It is a whole cocktail of reasons. And yes, we do digress. Which brings us to one of the most interesting parts of our week, where you laugh at me, and you laugh at me, and you laugh at me some more. Because you have dominated.
That's right.
3 trifectas in the last 6 races, my friend, you hit.
That's
98% return on investment.
That's right.
Warren Buffett is calling you after this.
I wouldn't go that far, sir.
But very, very impressive season for you. Quite unimpressive season for me, as we stated. As I might have messed around a little bit too much and got caught.
Your strategy was trash.
It was trash, but it was.
You didn't pick a strategy. You didn't have a strategy. You didn't stick with the strategy, and that's why you are where you are.
Yes,
in the last few weeks, you've just been throwing caution to the wind, trying to hit something mad.
And for those of you who are first-time listeners with the program, Greenybucks was our ongoing. We both started with 1,000 Greenybucks at the beginning of the season. We placed our bets on a winner, on a trifecta, on a biggest gainer every single week, which we will do one last time right now. So we both started with 1,000 Greenybucks. Obviously, we don't want to use dollars because we don't want to encourage gambling. And if you do have a gambling problem in the United States, please call 1-800-GAMBLER, 1-800-GAMBLER in the United States, and you can Google it the rest of the world. So right now, you have a robust Lewis Hamilton-esque 1,980 Greenybucks. I, on the other hand, have a Mazepin-esque 160 Greenybucks. You've lapped me a few times now, and I think you're planning on lapping me one more time to ride off into the sunset for 2021. Hopefully I can stop you one more time. You've outgunned me just about every single week or every single race weekend. Let's see if I can put a stop to that now. Winners, trifecta, biggest gainer. Sir, the board is yours.
Where are we starting first?
Wherever you want. The board is yours, man. You're the king.
All right, we're gonna go biggest mover. This is a little rough this week. I didn't like a lot of choices here. So we're going to take an old wily veteran. We're going to take Fernando Alonso.
Ooh.
20 Greenybucks. Fernando, we could throw down that crazy start and pass 3-4 people in the first lap and kind of settle in. Alpine has actually been pretty darn quick all weekend. So I'm going to take Fernando Alonso, 20 Greenybucks.
Wow. I'm going to go with another wily vet, but I'm going to go Kimmy because obviously this is the last time we could pick Kimmy in an F1 race. So I've taken him several times this year. He's been biggest gainer many times. It's been a while. He did have a couple second half biggest gainer wins. So and he has had a lot of passes this year. I think 100 and 5 passes this year, something like that. Has Kimi had that many? He's had a lot.
Fernando's going for the passing title this year, so
he's going for the passing title.
He's got to make some moves. And I thought about doing Kimi myself, but he doesn't look good all weekend. The car's not underneath him.
He hasn't.
So I just don't. I did not trust that for biggest gainer in the race. He has looked pretty bad actually. For his final race in that car. So, but that's why I didn't go there. Next we will go with winner then. And because the pole sitter has won the 6 straight races here at Abu Dhabi, I'm going to take Max Verstappen for the win. Because that seems to be the way this track goes. 20 Greenybucks. Max for the win. And therefore wins the Drivers' World Championship.
Wow. The Dutch are in love with you right now, sir. But they're not going to like me so much. Because, as I said earlier in the show, there's great drivers, and then there's the greatest of all time. And I think Lewis wants to prove he's the greatest of all time. It's going to be very interesting tire strategy. I think the start isn't going to play a huge part in it because I think Max is going to get out to a big lead, but I think Lewis and his savvy. I believe it's 7 out of 8 races he had to make a pass late to win this season. So he's no stranger to passing to win. I think it'll be 8 out of 9. And I think he's going to come back late, pass Max to take the win, leaving the orange fans devastated. Devastated. They are out. They're out this weekend. Abu Dhabi is a bright shade of orange, and they're going to be devastated when Lewis passes with 3 laps to go. So I got Lewis Hamilton. Give me a copycat 20 Greenybucks as well. That is my winner. What are you laughing at?
Devastated. Just the way you said it.
Oh my gosh.
I was ready to fall off the chair. They're going to be devastated.
They are so pumped up. They really... Now, listen. Max being in first with the soft, being able to probably get out to a 2 to 3 second lead early is going to really help this whole situation of this whole colliding into each other on lap 1. So I'm hoping Max gets out to a jump start. But I think in the end, tire strategy is going to play a really big part. Does Red Bull even have accessibility to mediums tires tomorrow? I don't think they do. So that's another factor.
Not a clean set.
So they're going to have to go soft, hard, soft if they want clean sets of tires. I think that's going to be a big deal. I think that's probably the strategy they're going to go is two-stop strategy. Lewis might go with a one-stop strategy. Yeah. Plus, I have no choice. I have to take Lewis because,
All right.
That leaves us with a trifecta, which you have hit 5 times this year. Unprecedented 5 times. That melon of yours, sir. Oh, that melon of yours. So talk to me.
Well, as I said earlier in the program, 4 of the last 6 races, the drivers who started 1, 2, 3 in those respective positions finished in those respective positions. So I'm going to take Max Verstappen first, Lewis Hamilton second, Lando Norris third. 20 Greenybucks. Mark it down. Hopefully we will sail over that 2,000 Greenybuck mark to end the season.
Right on. Listen, I have little faith. I think Lando threw in a miracle lap there to get that P3. I think if Lando was in P4 or 5, you would not feel the same way. But obviously, you believe history is going to repeat itself. I believe it will not, and I still believe that Lewis is going to make a late pass on Max. So give me Lewis 1, Max 2, and give me Checo 3. I don't know.
That was my other choice. That was my other choice.
Yeah, no. Listen, it's a solid choice. It's not. Mm-hmm. It's not cut and dry by any means. By any means, it could be Lewis. It could be Max. It could be neither of them. So it's that kind of race. It's tight. There's been a lot of cars going over that line. We saw a lot of disqualified laps during qualification. It's been interesting weekend. We talked about, some of the curbing has been interesting. Some of the changes they have made on that curbing has been interesting. We could see some blown tire. We could see anything. And it's night. It's day into night, so the track is hot, I believe, hot when they start out there. So it will not be a cool track like we had in Qatar, where we had, or in Saudi, where we had a cool track in a night race, Jeddah. So that could be a factor as well. And out in the desert, you never know when weather's going to be a factor. So that is my 1, 2, 3. Hamilton for the win, and Kimi, biggest gainer of the day. Final thoughts before we see everyone in about 24 hours from now.
Get your popcorn ready. Breakfast sandwiches, your bagels, your coffee, your tea, whatever's your deal of choice. Get your medication, get seated, and get ready for what should be a fantastic finish. You're probably one of the best Formula One seasons we've ever seen.
Yeah, it truly is. When you have in motorsport, you don't always get this. You don't always get a Super Bowl style event, and where you have to have a winner, where you have no idea who the world champion is going to be, and then 2 hours later you have a crowned world champion. There's nothing more exciting than that. Sport was built for this. One day, one event. This is what sports was built for. I understand, in Formula One, could be over in September, as it has been. Lewis is winning by over 100 points several times during his reign here with the new point system. So, really, 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 this is special. Cherish it. You're going to have a lot of new Formula One fans coming to the sport. I believe a lot of new Formula One, because this is a Super Bowl of motorsport. Don't miss it. If this is your first time ever watching Formula One, enjoy it. It'll be an hour and a half to 2 hours, and it will be some of the most enjoyable racing you'll ever see, some of the most exciting racing you'll ever see. There's 100,000 plus people on hand. You got the Mercedes lunatics, and you got the Max maniacs out there. Sea of orange. That's it. That's it, man. So don't miss it. We'll be back tomorrow, like I said. We'll have an evening, so probably in the U.S. we'll be hitting around 11 p.m. and somewhere in the middle of the night in the UK. So check us out probably Monday morning, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Stay medicated, my friends.
You're going to need as much medication as possible tomorrow. That's for sure. Enjoy the race, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Peace.